Hello, so I'm going to start doing more board game reviews of my channel instead of Rubik's Cube reviews. You might occasionally see one or two reviews on some puzzles, but it's mostly going to be board games from now on. I decided to do my first review on the board game Doughnut Drive-Thru. So this is a game that I really enjoyed when I first played it. It was hard for me to get a copy, but if you can manage to get your hands on one, I would recommend it. So I'm just going to open this up. So what is this game about? Well, it's about making donuts. Through this game, you learn recipes, you prepare the donuts, and you serve the donuts to get victory points. The first person to finish 5 recipes marks the end of the game. Everyone finishes their turns, so the round ends. Then you go whoever has made the most money wins. You start off with your roll card. So these are all different rolls. They each have their own special ability. You will also start off with one of these cards. They are valueless donuts just to get you started. So you'll always start off with one of these. They're all the same. They're really easy to get. And all you do is, you on your turn can take one of several actions. You can learn a recipe by using one of your donuts. If you put an extra donut down, you gotta take an extra card. It's really simple. You either take 2, or if you play the extra donut, you take 3. Look at them, keep one, discard the others. You can only ever have 2 recipes at any one time. You can prepare a recipe, so you can spend a donut to roll a die. If the outcome of the die value is equal to or greater than what you see here, then it is prepared. You exhaust the card, so it is shown as being prepared. If you spend an extra donut there, you can actually increase your die roll by 1. You have to do it beforehand. Another thing you can do is serve. So serving is when you have the donuts in this side. Basically, you are trying to serve it now that's been prepared. It's the same thing. You roll a die. If the outcome is one where you can actually prepare it successfully by getting greater than the number or equal to, then you'll flip it over. It has been completed and it will look like this. One additional thing that you can do is, let's say you can't make the roll that you have because you're off, you can actually exhaust this card and increase your roll by 1. So completed recipes become a resource. Lastly, what you can do is a coffee break. Coffee breaks take all of your exhausted cards and they turn them back, so you can then use them again for the +1 rolls. Lastly, because you will be using these donuts throughout the game, another thing that you can do is you can take up to 2 donuts from any one card. For instance, I could do that, or in the case that's like this, I can do something like this. You can never have more than your starting amount, which for the 2-player game is 3, and it's actually a fairly simple, fairly fast game. Additionally, the starting rolls all have different abilities that correspond to these different cards. Gert can take 1 additional recipe and keep 1 additional recipe. Elizabeth, all of her rolls for preparing are increased by 1. Nicola, all of her rolls for serving are increased by 1. This is a good time to keep in mind that 1s will always be an absolute fail, so no matter what, you will fail if you get a 1. And Peter, what he does is at the start of each of his turns, he unexhausts 1 of his cards. So just so you can read the cards, cash value is in the bottom, what you need to do to prepare it is right here, what you need to do it to serve it is right here. So that is pretty much it with playing the game. There really isn't much more to it. I will say the values do change between 1 and 5. 5 is the most expensive, and it's obviously the hardest to get. I'm just going to show some of the art with this game just because I really do enjoy it. Feel free to pause if you want to see some, or look at the cards in more detail. General Custard, I think that's hilarious. So, I'm going to talk about what I enjoy about the game and what I don't enjoy. what I enjoy about the game is it's nice, it's easy, it's not hard to learn. On the back of your roll cards, there'll even be a how to play where it tells you all of the rules of the game. It's a nice light game. There's not too much strategy with it, but the luck is a good element with it. Like the fact that you could roll a 1 and it'll just ruin what you're trying to do is fantastic, so I really do enjoy that. It's easy to carry around with you. But as far as an actual game goes, it's not the greatest. I mostly like this game because the theme is really cool, the art is really cute, it's very simple. It's a game I could play with people who don't play that many board games, which is great. But the problems are, it kind of fails on some components where or mechanics where it's really trying to be like bigger board games. So it's almost like a worker placement game where you're trying to place the donuts onto the different tasks that they can do and try and fill these up, which, yes, you can come up with some ways where you can block people from doing this, but your options are so limited and it's very much dictated by what you have in front of you. There's not a lot of choice with it, and it can actually be kind of frustrating when you're stopping people. At least frustrating for them, because you just can't do anything on some turns. Or you'll be put in a situation where you need to roll a 6 and all you keep getting is like 3s. And lastly, this stack of cards should be at least twice as thick. There should be twice as many cards in this game. As you can see, they do have some cards which some are just better than others, but I find that there's no real balance to these cards. The best way I can depict that is the fact that there are only 2 $5 cards, and one is just solely better than the other one. And what I'd at least like to see is, yes, I would like to see one card that's just better than the other, sometimes because it throws a bit of luck in it. But I would like to see a card that has these two symbols reversed, where this is for preparing it, it's an 8, and for serving it, it's a 7, just so there's a bit of balance between the prepare and serve actions. I really can't say anything more about this. I feel like I'm being a bit harsher than I should be on it. It really is a fun game, and I do recommend it. I don't think it's something you absolutely have to have in your collection. It's more something where if you get the chance to buy it, you probably should, but also who are you playing with? If you are playing with a bunch of serious board gamers, there's a lot of other games you could get that you could play in between games or to start a game night, and this might not be one of them. If you're playing with your family, if you're trying to introduce people to the hobby, then yes, I would recommend this game. It's fantastic for that. People like the art, it's nice and simplistic, it reminds me a bit of Sushi Go, and I really do enjoy it. It's just a casual game that's easy to play. I don't think there's anything else to say on this. All I can really say is, if you can get it, get it. But if you can't get it, it's not the worst thing in the world. There are many other games that you could get as an alternative. So thank you so much. This has been my first board game review. Let me know what you think. I'll try and make changes for next time. And see you all soon.